Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to completely stress test the human operating system. As leaders, we spend so much time optimizing our routines, our leadership strategies, and pushing for peak productivity. But today, we're zooming out to look at the foundational code of human performance. We're literally stripping away every single variable until only one remains: you.
Imagine waking up tomorrow, and the impossible has happened. Every single human being has vanished. No family, no colleagues, no neighbors. No social media updates, and zero emails demanding your immediate attention. Just you. Now I know what you're thinking. For a busy executive stuck in back-to-back meetings, this honestly might sound like a dream at first. But what would actually happen if you never saw another human again? The answer reveals something pretty extraordinary about how we operate and what it truly takes to perform, thrive, and frankly, just remain human.
Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll quickly run through the ultimate isolation experiment, the biology of human connection, the loneliness alarm, losing the social mirror, and finally wrap up with why purpose requires people. Let's get right into it.
Starting off with Section 1, the ultimate isolation experiment. This perfectly illustrates the clash between that executive fantasy of going it totally alone versus our actual, hardwired biological reality. At first, it might feel like the ultimate freedom, right? No traffic, no deadlines, no expectations. You'd probably just focus on practical logistics, finding food, securing shelter, keeping the lights on. It might even feel peaceful for a bit. But beneath that initial novelty, your brain is already noticing a massive red flag. See, even when we're alone in our modern, day-to-day lives, we know others exist nearby. We have this invisible social safety net. When that net suddenly vanishes, your brain registers the drop immediately.
Which brings us to Section 2, the biology of human connection.
To understand why the brain hits the panic button, we have to look at the human machine not as a standalone processor, but as a node in a massive network. For hundreds of thousands of years, our survival strictly depended on the group. We hunted together. Tens of thousands of years ago, we shared our food. Thousands of years ago, we banded together to protect each other from predators. And for generations, we've raised our children collectively. Getting separated from the group wasn't just a bummer, it meant death. Because of this, evolution literally hardwired our brains to survive through group cooperation. Social monitoring isn't just an add-on, it's a baseline function. So much of your daily mental processing revolves around other people. What are they thinking? How do they see me? What's their next move? We totally take it for granted, but other humans provide a constant, vital source of mental stimulation.
Moving to Section 3, System Failure and the Loneliness Alarm.
Here is the absolutely crucial takeaway. We have to completely redefine loneliness. It's not just boredom, it's not just feeling sad or wanting some company. Biologically speaking, loneliness is a critical warning system, and it functions exactly like hunger. It's a literal alarm bell from your brain screaming that a resource essential to your survival is missing. The profound problem in our total isolation scenario is that this alarm can never ever be turned off. There's no shared experience, no eye contact, no quick chat by the coffee machine to reset the system.
And when that alarm just keeps ringing, the system tries to compensate. It artificially replaces those missing social interactions, which quickly leads to some severe perceptual distortion. First, you start talking to yourself. Just simple comments at first, but pretty soon you're narrating your every action out loud. And this isn't madness. It's just the brain using language, a tool purpose-built for communication to simulate a connection. Next, you create substitutes. You might start naming inanimate objects or invent daily routines with imaginary dialogues. Ultimately, if you're starved of social signals long enough, you hit the hallucination stage. We are pattern-seeking creatures, heavily optimized to detect faces and voices. So in a total social vacuum, the brain just starts generating them on its own. People in extreme isolation literally report hearing voices or seeing figures, all because the mind is desperately searching for a connection.
What's really fascinating here is how cleanly we can track the systemic failures that follow. Isolation doesn't just mess with your head, it physically degrades your hardware. Because your brain perceives the lack of a tribe as a mortal threat, your body's stress systems stay constantly activated. Without external social regulation to bring those stress levels down, we see a massive cascade of failures. On the mental side, reality blurs, and that stress alarm just won't quit. Physically, this translates straight into chronic stress, terrible sleep, and a seriously compromised immune system. Loneliness becomes a very heavy, very real biological burden.
Let's look at Section 4, losing the social mirror.
As professionals and leaders, we absolutely live on metrics and feedback loops, right? Well, perhaps the most fascinating structural breakdown in isolation happens to your very identity. Without external feedback loops from other people, we completely lose our internal metrics for self-awareness. Think about it. Most of what you know about yourself comes from interaction. You know you're funny because people laugh at your jokes. You know you're an effective leader because your team responds. You understand your role in the market because society reflects it back to you. When you remove other humans, those mirrors just shatter.
Which begs a pretty startling question. Who are you when nobody knows you even exist? Who are you when no one remembers your name and nobody's around to hear your thoughts? Over time, without that social mirror, your sense of self gets incredibly unstable. The lines between memory, imagination, and reality really start to blur. It goes to show that we don't just happen to live in societies. We build our actual fundamental identities through them.
And finally, Section 5, why purpose requires people.
So let's say you actually manage the logistics. You figure it out, you secure food and shelter for the long haul. After years of isolation, the ultimate strategic bottleneck isn't survival anymore, it's meaning. Humans naturally crave purpose. Stripping away other people immediately eradicates almost all the motivations that drive us. Building families, mentoring a team, helping communities, creating a new product for your customers, sharing a massive discovery, or leaving a legacy. Every single one of those requires a network. If there's nobody else around, the core motivations that drive you to build, create, and lead, they just vanish.
Sure, you could keep the biological machine running. But, as this highlights, survival and fulfillment are absolutely not the same thing. Just surviving in a vacuum provides zero fulfillment. We might be able to survive alone for a little while, but we were never ever designed to thrive that way. Our minds were quite literally built through relationships.
I want to leave you with this provocative thought from our explainer today. What is the point of a massive achievement if nobody will ever know it happened? What's the purpose of an incredible story if there's no one there to hear it? The next time you're managing a complex team, talking strategy with a colleague, or honestly, just sharing a quick laugh with someone, remember that those moments are doing way more than just passing the time. They're satisfying one of the oldest biological needs in human history. They're providing the ultimate strategic value, because the people around you aren't just part of your business or your life, they're an essential part of who you are. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you on the next Explainer.